Hi, it's Mitch from PickDawgz.com, and it's Sunday, May 26, 2024. This is the show where we go over the first halves and first 5 innings for all of the games on the board today. This is still a new video feature, and of course, it'll evolve over time. But what we know is that when the fall rolls around, it's college basketball, college football, we're gonna have to mix it up a little bit. Still gonna cover a ton of games in these videos. One of the nice little features that I like to do here, and of course, is looking at something that happened on today in history. And actually, May 26, 1993 was the day that Carlos Martinez hit a ball into the outfield, hit Jose Canseco on the head, and went over the fence for a home run. You don't see it all the time, and we always say, you go to the baseball game every single day, you're going to see something you've never seen before, and that was certainly something I haven't seen since either. But anyways, let's get right into it. We got a full schedule of games today, so let's get started with today's first halves and first 5 innings. For game 1 for today's video, we're going to go to Dallas, where the Mavericks are taking on the Timberwolves for game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Boy, of course, we all know the Mavericks lead this series 2-0. Both the wins, of course, took place in Minnesota, but the Mavs have been a much better road team this season than they have been at home. And the Timberwolves, well, they've been winning road games all playoffs long, and of course, in the underdog role have been straight money. The Dogs have covered in almost all of the Timberwolves playoff games. The thing is that when we look at the first half for both these teams, well, they both absolutely have stunk it up all season long, and then some. As if you bet the Mavs or the Timberwolves just on the money line in the first half of their games this season, you've done nothing but pretty much lose money the entire time. But the way to go in this one for us is I'm just going to go with the under in the Mavs Timberwolves, because the Mavs at home seem to hit a lot of unders, 14 of their last 19. We'll go with the under in the Mavs Timberwolves as pick 1 for this video. For our next game, we head to Detroit, where the Tigers are taking on the Blue Jays. We got an early start in this one, 11:35 a.m. Eastern Time. Casey Mize on the bump for the Tigers. We got Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for the Blue Jays. Boy, it's been a kind of a back and forth series here for these teams, and it's kind of been a back and forth season for these teams. We look at how these teams are playing, though. You know, Kikuchi has been far better than Casey Mize. He's got ERA in the mid-2s over his last 3 starts and for the season. Meanwhile, Casey Mize, of course, missing last season and then, in prior season as well, trying to come back. Former number 1 overall pick in the baseball draft, just hasn't really got it done with his ERA landing in the mid-5s. The thing is that the Tigers are just not hitting left-handed pitching at all over their last 10 games, hitting in the 190 range against them. That doesn't get it done. We'll take the Jays first 5 as pick 1. For our next game, we head to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, where the Reds are hosting the Dodgers. Brent Suter listed as the starter here for the Reds, up against Yamamoto for the Dodgers. These guys faced off recently in LA. Actually, Suter faced off against the Dodgers. The Dodgers faced the Reds. Not these two particular pitchers, but Suter actually faced off against Glasnow in a game that the Reds won. The thing is, he doesn't go deep into games. He is a homegrown Cincinnati product, not meaning that he's been on the Reds the whole time, but he's from Cincinnati, so the crowd absolutely loves him. The thing is that the Dodgers, when it comes to hitting, have not really been all that strong recently. And what we've seen from the Reds is they haven't backed down from the Dodgers at all. The Dodgers just 185 versus lefties over their last 10 games, and really 215 versus righties. And overall, Yamamoto's been giving up hits as well. We got a ton of value here on the Cincinnati Reds team that has the Dodgers number. I'll take the Reds, and that'll be our pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Washington, where the Nationals are taking on the Mariners. Patrick Corbin on the bump for the Nats, while Brian Wu gets the ball for the Mariners. Wu was outstanding the last time we saw him, just absolutely mystifying the Yankees hitting, which has been off the chain lately. And then, meanwhile, Patrick Corbin in a contract year, and this guy makes one of the highest paid players in all of baseball, if you can believe that. But the thing is that neither of these teams are hitting all that well, facing, like, for instance, the Mariners versus left-handed pitching. Of course, Corbin is a lefty, hitting just 184 over their last 10 games, while the Nats hitting just 194 versus right-handed pitching. I think that we've seen, a little bit of offense from these teams, but overall, I think they're going to struggle against these starting pitchers. I think in this particular game, runs are going to be tough to come by overall. And in the first few innings, I don't expect to see much, if nothing. I'm going to take the under first 5 in the Nats-Mariners as my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Pittsburgh, where the Pirates are hosting the Atlanta Braves. Martin Perez on the mound for the Pirates, and it's Chris Sale on the mound for the Braves. The thing about this one is when we look at the Braves versus left-handed pitching, and of course both these pitchers are lefties, they've been absolutely terrible over their last 10 games against left-handed pitching. And this is one of those things where we see the 183 batting average versus lefties, and you got to say, you know what? This is a stat that I'm willing to throw out because, number one, it's the Atlanta Braves lineup who are hitting 249 versus left-handed pitching for the season. And number two, they're facing Martin Perez, who's giving up hits and runs in bunches. On the other side of it, Chris Sale hasn't allowed a run in his last 3 games. Boy, he is really not allowing much at all and looking like an all-star or even a Cy Young Award winner in the early going here. I gotta say, I think the Braves absolutely get out of the gate fast in this one. I'm gonna lay the run line with the Braves, and that'll be my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Fenway Park in Boston, where the Red Sox are taking on the Brewers. Tanner Houck on the mound for the Red Sox. It's Tobias Myers on the mound for the Brewers. Boy, the Brewers have really gotten the best out of the Red Sox in this series, and boy, have been all over it because one thing we knew coming in, the Brewers, the king of interleague games. The Red Sox, one of the worst home teams in all of baseball. Today, it looks like a pitching mismatch in favor of the Red Sox with Tanner Houck coming in, sub-2 ERA for the season, sub-2 ERA over his last 3 starts. And Myers, well, he's been hit pretty often in the action that we've seen him in. But the thing is that the Brewers absolutely pummel right-handed pitching. 262 for the season, 263 in their last 10 games, and I'll tell you what else they pummel is the Boston Red Sox, as they have just absolutely owned them over all of the recent meetings. I'm going to take the Brewers in the first 5 as my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Citi Field in New York, where the Mets are hosting the Giants. What a wacky series this has been. It's been comeback victories for the Giants on every single game. Well, same thing that it was in their last series in Pittsburgh. Sean Manaea, the lefty on the mound for the Mets, and it's Logan Webb on top of the rotation, the righty for the Giants. Webb's got a 1.89 ERA over his last 3 starts. He's got an impressive ERA over the course of the season. When we look at Manaea, he's in the low 3s, so he's pitched really well as well. A lot of things to look at here is that the Mets have gotten off to fast starts in these games and really slow finishes. So, the Giants, even though they're winning games, the first 5s haven't gone all that well. But when we look at the way the Giants hit left-handed pitching, 354 over their last 10 games, and with Manaea going today, even though he's pitched really well, I think the Giants have a better chance to get out of the gate a little quicker than what we've seen. I'm going to take the Giants in this game, and that's going to be my pick. For our next game, we head to Tampa Bay, where the Rays are hosting the Royals as they complete their series. Yesterday's game took a little extra time to get it done. In this one, it's Taj Bradley on the mound for the Rays, and it's Michael Wacha on the mound for the Royals. The Royals have been absolutely red hot recently, and here they are once again coming in as an underdog in this game. But the thing is, Michael Wacha, while he has a 2.37 ERA over his last 3 starts, coming down from a 4.45 for the season, we've seen Wacha throughout the years, and we know he's susceptible. The Royals are absolutely bludgeoning right-handed pitching, hitting 270 over their last 10 games. So not a very good sign here for Bradley, and the Rays hitting just 207 versus right-handed pitching. But I still think that Bradley is a far better pitcher here, even though he's susceptible to the home run. I'm going to go with the Rays at home, and that's going to be my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Target Field in Minnesota, where the Twins are taking on the Rangers. It's Pablo Lopez on the mound for the Twins, and the Rangers starter at the time of doing this video, which I'm doing it on Sunday morning, has not been named yet. So there is no line for this game either. But one thing that we know, that generally first 5 innings in Major League Baseball, the totals are generally around 4.5 runs for the first 5, kind of as a default. The thing is, Lopez has been hit pretty hard for the Twins, but we know he has top of the rotation stuff. That's why they traded a rise for him. On the other side of it, the Rangers just are not hitting the baseball at all. Last 10 games, 197 versus righties, 172 versus lefties. The Twins, 191 versus righties over the last 10 games. We've been rolling with the under first 5 in every game of this series and have hit it so far. Why change? Let's take the under in the Twins-Rangers first 5 as our pick for this game. For our next game, we head to the south side of Chicago, where the White Sox are taking on the Orioles. The White Sox have done well in the first half of their games against the Orioles, but they haven't ended well, including that 5-run 8th inning yesterday, losing the game outright after leading most of the way. Garrett Crochet gets the ball here for the White Sox. The lefty was nothing short of sensational in his last several starts, including last time just absolutely mystifying the Blue Jays. Bradish on the mound here for the Orioles, sub-3 ERA guy as well, sub-3 over his last 3 starts as well, so he's pitching extremely well. The thing is that the Orioles are pummeling left-handed pitching over their last 10 games, hitting 297 and 276 for the season versus left-handed pitching. Like I said, Crochet is kind of a different level left-handed pitcher. Just don't see a lot of runs coming after it, and the White Sox have gotten off fast. All the value here is on the White Sox. And that'll be my pick for the first 5. For our next game, we go to Coors Field in Colorado, where the Rockies are hosting the Phillies. It's Cal Quantrill on the bump for the Rockies, Ranger Suarez on the mound for the Phillies. Suarez has been outstanding. Most people know that when it comes to the Phillies, I could rarely find value here. Generally way over bet in big prices. So even though they win a lot of games, tough to make money on a team like this. On the other side of it, the Rockies, well, we saw on Saturday exactly what you get, when you bet on the Rockies, a team that kind of is there, and then all of a sudden, well, they're not there. But Cal Quantrill, kind of an interesting thing here. 3.59 ERA for the season, 2.00 ERA over his last 3 starts. This guy pitches at Coors Field. These are off-the-chart numbers for a pitcher that pitches at Coors. Gotta say, Suarez has been pretty unhittable as well. While both these teams certainly hit the baseball extremely well and are hitting it well lately, I still think these guys hold it down. I like the under at first 5 in the Rockies-Phillies is my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to the Big A in Anaheim, where the Angels are hosting the Guardians. Reed Detmer's on the mound for the Angels, and it is Ben Lively on the mound for the Guardians. Ben Lively has found a new gear this season, but his numbers are starting to regress just slightly. His ERA for the season at 2.84, but for the last 3 games goes all the way up to 3.89. But Detmer's on the other side of things, also regressing in a big way. 5.90 for the season, over 10 over his last 3 starts. He started the season really strong, but he has been absolutely terrible recently. The Guardians hit lefties much better than they hit righties over their last 10 games, hitting 280 versus left-handed pitching. The Angels hitting 249 versus righties, so certainly not bad at all, up from their season average of 234. The thing is, I think Lively, has a better chance of keeping the Guardians in, who've just been like a machine recently. I'm going to roll with the Guardians in the first 5 as my pick for this game. For our next game, we head to Oakland, where the A's are taking on the Astros. Brooks on the mound for the A's. It's Blanco on the mound for the Astros. Of course, Blanco coming back from that suspension for the sticky stuff. His numbers were regressing, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays in this one. Both these teams hit righties extremely well and have hit him well over the last 10 games, but the Astros hitting 305 versus right-handed pitching over their last 10, while the A's at 254. So really nothing bad about that. Blanco, 2.09 ERA for the season, 3.07 over his last 3 starts. And we all know that the sticky stuff certainly makes a difference. And as they said about Blanco, said it was the stickiest stuff he ever felt. I don't know what that means, but I'll tell you what it does mean. Brooks has a 4.15 ERA coming into this thing. The Astros are swinging the bats. I'm going to roll with the Astros first 5, even though I hate the price. For our next game, we head to Arizona, where the D-backs are taking on the Marlins. It was the D-backs getting the win on Saturday, the game where Sixto Sanchez had a lot of location problems early, and the Marlins didn't take advantage of a lot of their early scoring chances. In this one, we got a battle of lefties as Blake Wallstrom gets his first career start here for the D-backs, and Ryan Weathers on the mound for the Marlins. We saw Wallstrom in limited action. He got hit pretty hard. He's been getting hit pretty hard in the minors, but in that Pacific Coast League, kind of got to take those numbers and almost throw them out, because that is just basically a very high scoring league. When we look at what Weathers has done, he's got a 3.49 ERA for the season and 1.71 over his last 3 games. The thing is, the Marlins have not hit lefties well over the course of the season, but over the last 10 games, hitting 280. I think this one's all Marlins, and that's going to be my pick for the first 5. For our next game, we head to Petco Park in San Diego, where the Padres are taking on the Yankees. It's Joe Musgrove on the mound for the Padres and Clark Schmidt on the mound for the Yankees. The thing about this series is the Yankees have absolutely dominated this series from the first pitch. When we look at these 2 pitchers, it looks like a mismatch in favor of the Yankees. And the thing is, the line still very, very tight. So, hey, maybe somebody knows something. Look at some of these numbers. We look at Clark Schmidt, 2.59 ERA for the season, 0.92 over his last 3 starts, and Joe Musgrove, 6.14 for the season ERA and 7.11 over his last 3 starts. Yet the line continues to sit where it is, with the Yankees hitting 265 versus righties over the last 10, and the Padres hitting 259 in a series that's been dominated by the Yankees. Something looks funny here to me, and I gotta tell you, the Yankees look like a sucker bet. I'm gonna roll with the Padres, and that's gonna be my pick for this game. For our last game on the card, we go to St. Louis, where the Cardinals are taking on the Cubs. Sonny Gray on the mound for the Cards and Javier Assad on the mound for the Cubs. Boy, the Cardinals bats have come alive, and really they had to hold on for dear life on Saturday, with that bullpen making it interesting after the Cardinals had rallied late to take the lead. What a game it was. These 2 teams, they do not like each other, and that always makes for exciting games. Assad has been outstanding, 1.70 ERA for the season, 1.80 over his last 3 starts, while Gray rebounded from 2 horrible starts in a row to pitch really well last time out, but his ERA over his last 3 still at 6.48. The thing is that while Assad's been outstanding, the Cubs hitting hasn't been. 206 versus righties over their last 10 games, while the Cardinals 297 versus righties over the last 10 games. I like the Cardinals' chances here. I'm going to take the Cards over the first 5, and that's going to be my pick for this game. That wraps up today's first halves and first 5 innings. As always, if you're looking for our best bets, you can find those over at our website, PickDawgz.com. Just click on the Premium Picks tab. If you're looking for cool merch, like the stuff that me and the rest of the PickDawgz crew wear in our videos, plus even more stuff like the hats, we have new Nike polos, golf shirts. Check them all out. I put a link in the description. You can also click on the merch tab over at PickDawgz. I'll be back tomorrow. A little bit smaller card, 11 Major League Baseball games for Memorial Day, and a lot of day baseball, but I'm excited for it as always. And thank you guys for joining in, and we will see you tomorrow with more first halves and first 5 innings.